Welcome into the Ohio State Football Report. Billy Beebe back with you. The transfer portal is officially closed. That means no more players can actually enter the transfer portal or make that decision to leave their school through the transfer portal. However, you will still see names over the coming days that are switching schools just because paperwork is still going through, changes are still being made, but the portal itself at this point in time is close, so things are going to slow down a little bit. I do personally believe Ohio State is about done here. It would surprise me if they grabbed another name or two. We wanted to go through who they got, who they lost, the effects of it, where they went at times, and all that. We're going to go through the tracker real quick here on the Ohio State Football Report. But first, if you guys could please hit subscribe. We have a new goal you could help us out with. We want to beat our December numbers. They were electric. We had really great numbers in the month of December, and I said, you know what? I want to lay the challenge out there for us to beat those numbers, be better, because this fan base is growing here on the Ohio State Football Report. We're getting more subscribers. We want to go up, 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 so you can see December a little higher than January. I think we can still reach it, beat it, however you guys want to put it. So hit that sub button right now. So, new additions. That's what we will start with. Then we will get to the players. Ohio State lost 16 new names for the Buckeyes. They started slow. Then they got into it, and I think they had some high highs as far as transfer portal additions. I really do. I think they got in some really, really good spots as far as the transfer portal goes, which is a very big deal for the Buckeyes. Obviously, this is something you wanted to see them do well with and do a good job at in the portal. 16 names is what they end up with, and I think they covered a lot of ground. We will note the one position that they did not get or cover or add with here in just a second. Recent additions, too, that we didn't get to cover on the show, so you want to note that. Can take a look through the first 8 guys here. Mason Williams, tight end. Hunter Welsing, a tight end. They got a long snapper in Dalton Riggs. John Walker, who we predicted they would go get, and they did go get. One of the Bama boys, James Smith. They got a couple of Bama boys. Devin McCune from University of Texas San Antonio. Kyle Parker, a late addition, an LSU wide receiver that could split time in the slot with Brandon Inniss. We will keep an eye on that one. So, you're taking a look at this, and you see a double dose of tight ends. Kind of had to have it as far as the tight ends go, just because you lost Max Clare, you lose Will Kazmarek, and you're really not returning any receiving tight ends. So Hunter Welsing, who's a 7th year, this will be his 7th year of college football, and Mason Williams, who, like Kazmarek, comes from Ohio University. You get excited about those two guys. You think it's important for them to kind of, be in the mix, to kind of be a part of Ohio State and what they're trying to do here. So I like the additions of these two guys. I also know the value of these two guys for the Buckeyes because, again, losing Max Clare, losing Will Kazmarek, Clare had over 400 yards, so these guys are going to be tasked to replace him. And then the 2 wide receivers, the Buckeyes end up going and getting Devin McCune from UTSA. He actually played a lot of outside, so I don't know if he'll be in the slot. Kyle Parker's more of a slot receiver. Cortez Hankton goes out and gets a guy he recruited. I think that's a very interesting addition for the Buckeyes in McCune and Parker at the wide receiver position. That was a position, Buckeyes had a lot of losses there, so they had to make up ground. And again, I think you go from guys, and we'll get into the guys later, but Mylan Graham, Quincy Porter, and some other guys gone. Now you kind of have to play guys, and hey, may as well play some guys that are proven, have stats, SEC guy, a guy that was a starter at UTSA and a big part of their offense. Quality additions for a spot you were kind of worried about for a while there. The other additions here for Ohio State, you get your kicker, a little bit of help at the safety position, possibly your backup quarterback in Justin Martin, another Bama boy in Quay Russaw, late additions at the corner position, Cam Calhoun and Dominic Kelly, and then you needed veteran leadership in that running back room. It's a very young running back room, so adding Jacoby Jackson from Florida, not really like crazy. You kind of needed it, right? Bo Jackson and Isaiah West will both be sophomores. I don't know that Jackson will be like any sort of, even on C.J. Donaldson's level. I think he'll be more like C.J. Donaldson was at the end of his Buckeye tenure there. So, you just get some veteran leadership there. Had to get some corners in the room. We'll talk about that later. Big splash in Rusaw. Needed the safeties. I mean, again, you covered good ground in the portal with your additions there. My question for you guys. Who is your favorite portal addition for Ohio State? Going through these names, I think I can take a guess who your favorite is. Probably my favorite also, but I did want to check in with you guys and get your answer there. Who is your favorite portal addition? You can either go back through our list or past videos where we've talked about these guys. My favorite, Connor Hawkins. Buckeyes get their kicker in Connor Hawkins. And again, 2-game winners this past season, one of them being from 50-plus yards, a couple of 50-plus yard kicks, career long of 54, 3 years of eligibility remaining for Connor Hawkins. So it's all excitement for me with Connor Hawkins. I really like Connor Hawkins. I think it's great for the Buckeyes. I don't know how they just made this happen. They weren't going to get a kicker, and then all of a sudden they had one. So I'm excited about Connor Hawkins in that respect. That's my favorite portal addition. Again, you guys can go list yours down below. Some final thoughts as far as additions go, and again, we'll get into the guys that they lost here in just a second. As far as the additions go, my thoughts and kind of what we noticed about Ohio State with their additions. We panicked a little too early, right? Indiana was adding players. The Buckeyes weren't. We're talking about penny pinching. We're talking about spending. Next thing you know, they still made big splashes. They covered all the positions they needed to cover. They got busy in the portal. We panicked a little early on that one. I think we really did. They went for experience. Again, a lot of these guys, you didn't get like a Quincy Porter or a Mylan Graham. 5-star, hasn't played, need them, see what they can do. Nope, everyone they got, has experience, has played, and you feel like can benefit, so that's a big deal there. And look, they got 3 guys back on their offensive line. And as of right now, again, they could still add a guy just who's in the portal, but no offensive line. No offensive line so far for Ohio State. So again, 16 additions there as we track them. Portal's closed. That means nobody can go in. But again, you will see paperwork and names keep coming. Buckeyes not connected to anybody at this point in time. Great deal for you guys, and I urge you to take advantage now. It has just hours left. It is cold. And I thought I want to find a good deal for everybody to take advantage of. And here it is, the Ohio State quarter zip. Right now, 25% off. 25% off. Chatsports.com/OSUQZ. Chatsports.com/OSUQZ. The promo code is TROPHY. So you go to chatsports.com/OSUQZ. That'll take you to it. You'll see that 25% off is available to you guys when you use that code TROPHY. And again, just hours remaining on this deal. So I certainly, no doubt about it, would get over there, take advantage of that bad boy right now. It's cold. And I think those Ohio State editions, when it's cold, always going to be a good idea there. So chatsports.com/OSUQZ, promo code TROPHY. You're getting 25% off, and you're warming up in style. So take advantage of that now. So the Buckeyes lost 31 names to the portal. 31 names, which sounds like a lot, but you get 16 and you get a recruiting class of 28. That's what I will note with that one there. And look, maybe some of your favorite players are in here. Maybe some guys that you really, really liked and liked the idea of them being Buckeyes and so on and so forth. I don't know how exactly everyone wants to put it with these portal losses, but yeah, they lost a good amount of names, and we'll break down exactly like the ending thoughts on there. Bryson Rogers, Jelani Thurman, Lincoln Keenel, some expected, some not. Bryce West, C.J. Hicks, Sam Dixon, Dominic Kirk, Logan George, Demarion Witten, and James Peoples, the first set. I do want to note here in this group, you had 2 guys follow Brian Hartline to South Florida. C.J. Hicks was one of them. And again, I don't want to do the I told you so thing too often, but you guys down in the comment section, you guaranteed me C.J. Hicks was primed for a big year, and C.J. Hicks wasn't going anywhere. Well, he's in South Florida. Bryson Rogers ends up heading back home. He's from Tampa anyway. He joins Brian Hartline in South Florida there. More portal losses. One of the Armstrong brothers from St. Ed's, he's leaving. His brother announced he will stay. I think it's Deontay is staying. You lost a kicker in Jackson Courville. Buckeyes only have one on the roster now. I think they're still trying to fill that out. Tegra Tshabola, who many of you don't like, is gone. Mylan Graham, who thought about coming back, ends up leaving anyway. Aaron Scott Jr., who we'll get to in just a second, he is gone. You also lose, a little bit of offense line help, and again, some more guys that, honestly, if we're looking at it, they weren't playing. So some of these guys, losses, but not giant losses. You kind of have to assess and go about your business. I know the wide receiver thing was a big debate and a big issue and so on and so forth for a while. Do note with these two, off to the Irish. Mylan Graham, who thought about coming back, he is going to Notre Dame. Quincy Porter, who is a former 5-star for the Buckeyes. Those guys will be on Notre Dame. And I want to add, I don't want to make a huge deal about it exactly, but you could see those guys. There is a very good chance that you see those guys next year just going at it with Notre Dame. I think it's a very real possibility, and I think Notre Dame's primed to be a better team next year just because, they've added some good things. They're growing. Marcus Freeman's a good coach. I think you could see Mylan Graham and Quincy Porter next season. Again, Mylan Graham flirted with coming back. He ends up exiting to Notre Dame. More names that left for Ohio State. Do want to note, too, the defensive tackle position. You lose Maxwell Roy, Eric Mensah, and Trajen Odom. All three players were from the 2025 class. All three players were defensive tackles. So you lose all three defensive tackles from your 2025 class. But again, good example, you get John Walker and James Smith in the portal. So as much as you hate to lose those guys, you kind of just immediately make up for it, right? You immediately fill those spots, and that's what the Buckeyes have done very, very well. Cody Haddad, St. Ignatius product, he's gone, and Faheem Delane, who many thought could be possibly a starter, he goes to LSU to join his brother. Bodpegn Miller, who a lot of you guys, again, you said he's our next up. He's another guy we could use. He is gone and off. He is not out of school yet. A lot of these guys, I didn't list their school because they don't have one yet. Some we know, some we don't, but we wanted to track that they're at least off to a different school. So, which transfer portal player do you guys consider to be the greatest loss for Ohio State? Initially, I know a lot of you guys had, big on the Mylan Graham. A lot of you felt Mylan Graham was the biggest loss for Ohio State there. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'm interested to see, a lot of you guys had your favorites and guys you thought were big losses, so on and so forth. My two, it is Bryce West and Aaron Scott Jr. I can't guarantee they were going to be starters. Many felt they were going to be starters. And look, both Ohio guys, West from Glenville. Scott got some time last year as a former 5-star. I just think overall it's an L to lose these guys that you developed and seemed like they were ready to go. And now they're Scott's going to Oregon. West is going to Wisconsin. So you lose both guys to Big Ten schools. Developed at Ohio State. Ohio guys, it's just overall, I think it's a loss. Not one of those things where it's like, can't replace them, because again, you can replace them. You did replace them. You got Cam Calhoun, Dominic Kelly, and possibly Earl Little Jr. going into the slot. So, but those were two guys I noted as losses. And my final thoughts here on where we're at, again, they could add some guys at this point in time. They won't lose anyone else. The portal is close. They won't lose anyone else, but we may see the Buckeyes gain a few players here. My thoughts on the losses, their retention was pretty good. You dealt with the Bo Jackson situation. We talked about the Bo Jackson situation. You got the core of your guys back. You're keeping Kenyatta Jackson. You're keeping Julian Sayin, Jeremiah Smith, Bo Jackson, name after name after name that are actually going to play guaranteed and benefit for you. You kept all those guys, right? I don't think there were any guys, the Buckeyes, like, oh man, that was going to be a starter, now he's not. So like I said, no guaranteed starters there. And again, I thought West and Scott were the biggest losses, where you put effort into developing them. They look like they were possibly going to be starters, look like their time, and you lose them there. So that's my thought on the 31 transfer portal losses for the Buckeyes. Finishing out, I want to get a grade from you guys on Ohio State in the transfer portal. A, B, C, D, or F. Again, could make a late addition, who knows, but as of right now, 16 gains, 31 losses. That's where Ohio State stands in the portal. We will make this our pinned comment, so comment down below.